In the silence of the early morning, the Stoic sharpens his mind like a blade. He prepares not just for battle but for life, love, and illusion. The Stoics taught, it is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about them. A narcissist clouds your judgment. They hide their poison in the wine of affection. And by the time you taste the bitterness, it's already too late. If you're dating a narcissist, you are not in a relationship. You are in a war for your soul. These are the 10 signs that it's time to draw the line and walk away with honor. 1. They love bomb you early. You've just met, and already, they're all in. You're not just someone they like, you're the one. Their missing piece, their soulmate. The attention is overwhelming in the best way. They shower you with praise, gifts, affection, constant messages. It's thrilling, divine, even. You feel chosen, special. It's intoxicating, like stepping into a dream. But here's the catch in Stoicism. We are taught to approach such moments not with open arms, but with measured caution. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, once warned, when you are delighted with anything, beware. This isn't a call to cynicism, it's a call to awareness. Why? Because anything that burns too hot, too fast, risks burning out just as quickly. True love, the kind that lasts, isn't a sudden explosion. It's a fire that starts small and steady, patiently fed with trust, time, and shared experience. So when someone comes on strong too soon, take a breath, enjoy the warmth, but stay grounded. Ask yourself, is this real connection or just a performance? Are they seeing you or an ideal they've created? Is this intensity sustainable or is it a spark destined to fade? In the language of Stoicism, passion without reason is a storm, and wise souls don't build homes in hurricanes. 2. They crave control, not connection. At first, it might seem like care. They want to know where you are, what you're thinking, how you're feeling. They ask questions that seem thoughtful. They notice your every mood. But soon, it shifts. Suddenly, your laughter needs explanation. Your silence becomes suspect. Your joy must be justified, and your pain is either dismissed or used against you. This isn't love. This is a power play dressed in the costume of concern. Because a narcissist doesn't seek intimacy, they seek influence. They don't want to understand you. They want to orchestrate you. Every emotion you show becomes a tool, a lever, a switch. If you smile, they want to own the reason. If you cry, they want to direct the script. But Stoicism reminds us of something far more empowering. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, your inner world is yours. Your feelings are not their puppet strings. The moment you allow someone else to dictate your emotional weather, to make you feel guilt on cue, joy on command, or fear without cause, you've not just given away your peace. You've abdicated your throne. The Stoic doesn't numb emotion, they govern it. They don't reject connection, they protect it from corruption. Because love should be a meeting of equals, not a game of dominance wrapped in affection. 3. Your boundaries are disrespected. You say number, not angrily, not dramatically, just clearly, calmly. But they don't hear it, or worse, they pretend not to. They joke, they pout, they say you're too sensitive, that it was just a question, just a hug, just a joke. But slowly, line by line, they erase the edges of your selfhood. And here's the truth. A narcissist doesn't test your boundaries by accident. They do it to map you, to find where the resistance is weak. Not because they care about connecting, but because they care about controlling. In Stoic philosophy, boundaries are not barriers to love, they are its foundation. Seneca, the wise Roman thinker, urged, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." That kind of person sees your boundaries and respects them, even admires them. Because your limits show self-respect. And self-respect is the soil where healthy relationships grow. But to the narcissist, your no is not a word, it's a challenge. They don't see you as a person to walk beside. They see you as terrain to conquer. Your time, your choices, your comfort all up for negotiation. They demand access like they have a right to your inner life. But you are not their property. You are not a fortress to be invaded, nor a land to be colonized. You are a soul, sovereign and whole. And in Stoicism, guarding your peace is not selfish, it is wise. A clear boundary is not cruelty. It is clarity. It is strength in the face of subtle war. 4. They always play the victim. You gather your courage. You speak gently, honestly, not to attack, but to express how you feel. You use calm words, careful ones. You just want to be understood. But suddenly, the script flips. They're the one in pain now. They're shocked, hurt, outraged. How could you do this to them? You came to share your wound, but they found a way to bleed louder. This is the narcissist's signature move. Weaponizing weakness, turning confrontation into theater with themselves at center stage. They don't solve the issue. They bury it under tears, deflection, and blame. You end up apologizing for how they made you feel. And in the chaos, your truth gets lost. The Stoic, however, does not chase illusions through emotional fog. He doesn't scream to be heard over the noise. He stands with quiet clarity. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if anyone can refute me, show me, I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after. But the narcissist isn't after truth, they're after control through confusion. And if they must play the victim to keep that power, they will do so with dramatic flair. A Stoic learns to recognize this performance not with anger, but with distance. He doesn't wrestle with false guilt. He doesn't argue with distortion, because the truth doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to plead. It simply stands patient and unshaken like stone in a storm. And that's your task. Stand with your truth, even when you're cast as the villain in someone else's fiction. 5. They isolate you from your support system. It doesn't happen overnight. It starts with a subtle comment. Your friend doesn't really understand you. They're just jealous. I don't think your family has your best interests at heart. At first, you brush it off, but over time, the doubt seeps in. Phone calls go unanswered. Invitations get declined. You stop sharing your life with others not because you want to, but because you've been trained to second-guess their loyalty. And suddenly, your world is quieter, smaller, colder. Only one voice remains, theirs, and now it echoes louder than ever. This is no accident. It is a slow erosion, not of your relationships, but of your resistance. Because when a narcissist removes your support system, they remove your mirror. The people who remind you of who you were before the manipulation began. The ones who could pull you back to yourself. But the Stoic sees this tactic for what it is, a cage disguised as intimacy. He remembers the wisdom of Hegel, often echoed in Stoic thought. Freedom is the recognition of necessity, and it is necessary, vital, even to remain connected to those who tell you the truth. To keep your allies close. To seek counsel from your mentors. To lean on those who lift your vision when someone else tries to lower it. Isolation is the enemy of clarity. And when someone tries to burn your bridges to liberty, you must ask yourself, who benefits if I stand alone? Whose voice grows louder when others are silenced? A Stoic doesn't fear solitude, but he does not confuse it with submission. He chooses his tribe with intention, not out of obligation, but never lets one person become the prison. Because love that cuts you off from the world isn't love, it's possession. And you were born not to be owned, but to walk freely, with wisdom, among those who sharpen your soul. 6. They lack empathy. You open up raw, real, vulnerable. You speak your truth, voice your fears, share your joy. And what do you receive in return? A sigh, a cold stare, a change of subject, maybe even a mocking smirk. Your pain irritates them. Your success provokes them. They can't celebrate your wins because they feel diminished by them. They can't sit with your sorrow because it inconveniences their ego. To a narcissist, your emotions are not shared experiences, they're threats to their control. They resent what they don't understand, and they refuse to understand anything that isn't about them. Your humanness, your full, feeling, evolving self becomes a mirror they can't bear to look into. So they attack the reflection, because empathy requires presence. And a narcissist is absent even when standing right beside you. They may mimic concern, say the right words, offer hollow comfort, but it's performance, not partnership. It's observation, not connection. And the Stoic sees through it all. He knows that love without empathy is like a blade without a hilt. Beautiful, perhaps, but impossible to hold without harm. It will cut not just the one it touches, but the one who tries to wield it. As Epictetus taught, the wise do not chase affection that wounds. The Stoic does not mistake emotional detachment for strength, nor cruelty wrapped in calm for love. He recognizes that real connection is not built on proximity, but on shared humanity. So if your emotions are always too much, too heavy, too bright, too real, then you are not too much. You are simply standing in front of someone who feels too little. And the Stoic walks away, not in bitterness, but in quiet allegiance to his own dignity. 7. They gaslight you. You remember it clearly. The words they said, the look on their face, the moment that left you shaken, confused, or hurt. But when you bring it up, something strange happens. They deny it flatly. That never happened. Or they minimize it. You're exaggerating. Or worse, they twist it back onto you. You're too sensitive. You always take things the wrong way. At first, you're confused. Then, you start to doubt. Maybe you are remembering it wrong. Maybe it was your fault. Maybe you're just broken. And that's exactly the point. Gaslighting is not about lies, it's about control through distortion. It's not enough for them to manipulate your feelings. They want to reshape your reality. If they can erode your confidence in your own memory, they can rewrite the story however they please. And once your trust in yourself is gone, they become the final authority, the sole narrator of your life. But the Stoic holds his mind as sacred ground. Epictetus warned, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit. This is not victim blaming, it's a call to vigilance. A reminder that the mind must be trained and defended, like a fortress under siege. Because your perception, your ability to reason clearly, to trust what your senses tell you, is the foundation of your freedom. A Stoic does not let another rewrite his truth. He knows that even when the world is fogged with deception, he must keep his inner vision clear. To be gaslit is to be pulled into someone else's illusion. To be Stoic is to stay rooted in your own discernment. So sharpen your awareness. Revisit your truth. Keep a journal. Seek perspective. Verify your thoughts, not to defend yourself, but to reclaim your clarity. Because once your mind is no longer yours, everything else becomes easier to steal. 8. They are jealous of your strength. The stronger you grow, the colder they become. A narcissist doesn't want you to rise, they want you to reflect. Reflect only them, their greatness, their delusion. But you are not a mirror. You are a flame, and no one has the right to dim your fire. 9. You are always drained. Love should feel like peace, not exhaustion. A relationship should not feel like surviving a storm every day. If every conversation feels like battle, if you're walking on eggshells more than paths, then know you are not loved. You are being used. The Stoic saves his energy for virtue, not for convincing someone to respect him. 10. You're losing yourself. You used to laugh freely, dream fearlessly. Now, you hesitate before speaking. You apologize for existing. This is not growth, this is erosion. The Stoic lives by one law above all: to know thyself and be true to it. If you've forgotten who you are, it's time to leave. And remember, the Stoic warrior knows when to draw his sword, but greater still is the wisdom to walk away. You were not born to be controlled. You were not born to doubt yourself. You were born to be free in mind, in soul, in spirit. Leave the narcissist behind, and return to your path, the path of strength, the path of reason, the path of the Stoic.